In recent days, reports have poured in about wild boars tearing up the crops. They push out from the deep woods, slipping into the fields to root, bite, and destroy. To stop this menace, we set out on a hunt, starting in the forest's heart and chasing them clear across the open fields. Leaves crackled under our boots, beams of light cut through the canopy, and the weight of tension hung heavy in the air. Would we have the grit to wipe out the entire herd today? Stay with us, the hunt begins now. Our team pushed into the dense southern woods, moving with caution. The hounds were released to pick up a scent. Barely 5 minutes later, their frantic barking echoed ahead, a signal we all knew too well. Prey had been found. Without hesitation, we charged forward. A massive wild boar was cornered, snarling and thrashing wildly to break free. I wasted no time. Rifle up, sights locked, finger tight on the trigger. One clean shot dropped the beast where it stood. That opening round shattered the forest's silence. The hunt had begun. Our challenge to the wild was now officially declared. That first shot must have stirred the whole herd. The hounds gave another signal. Another target flushed out. From the dense brush, a massive boar burst forward, charging straight for my closest dog. Not a chance, I thought, snapping my rifle up and firing a decisive round. In a split second, the beast collapsed, never getting the chance to strike. That's the danger of the deep woods. One slip of focus, and the hunters can just as easily become the hunted.
Trem vem bom, tá vendo? 600 metros.
As I searched deeper for more signs in the forest, a sudden rustle caught my ear. Another one lurking nearby. I crept forward, breath held, rifle ready, pushing aside the heavy brush. A massive dark shape loomed right in front of me. In that split-second face-off, even a moment's hesitation could have made me the prey. The shot cracked loud and sharp, and the beast dropped instantly. Once again, the forest fell into a tense, uneasy silence. Word came in that wild boars were tearing up a nearby sugarcane field, and our team immediately pulled out to shift the fight.
Vai, galera! Chuta na cabeça dele.
Vai. Aí.
Just as expected, within 10 minutes of tracking, one of them showed itself. It burst through the brush, thinking it had found a way out, only to run straight into my sights. The first shot, the thicket saved it. But the second round cut straight into its vitals, shutting down its last desperate charge. A cunning, stubborn brute, but no match for my resolve. One by one, the others fell as well, and we kept our word to protect this land and keep it safe. At that very moment, a sharp gunshot cracked from the left. My teammate had just dropped another heavyweight. The beast had been lurking in the brush, but the instant its massive shadow lunged out, he pulled the trigger without a shred of hesitation. That single precise shot ended the threat in a heartbeat. Out here, speed and accuracy aren't just skills, they're the very keys to survival. We kept moving, determined to track down the rest of the herd. Barely 10 minutes later, the hounds gave us the signal. Fresh danger ahead. Without hesitation, the team charged forward at full speed. In the thick cane brush, a massive beast thrashed wildly, desperate to break free of the trap. One of my teammates lunged in, closing the distance with reckless courage. Armed with nothing but a pistol and sheer grit, he ended the fight in a heartbeat. When it comes to guts and split-second resolve, no one rivals the marksman on my crew. And soon enough, the next targets fell under our control, one after another. We had decided to pull back, the team finally easing up after a long, tense day. But out of nowhere, a dark figure exploded from the cane thicket, cutting straight across the red dirt road ahead. Instinct took over. I leapt from the truck, rifle raised, finger steady on the trigger. One clean squeeze, and the bullet struck true. The last beast collapsed right before my eyes. With that, the final threat was put down. The crops and the folks who depend on them could rest easy once again.
In a city in Serbia, locals are facing an increasingly serious threat from wild boars. Weighing up to several hundred kilograms, these beasts have become terrifying monsters, striking fear into many people. To address this issue, Serbian authorities have authorized organized hunts to control the wild boar population and protect local communities. and we were determined to take down every single wild boar that had wreaked havoc on local farms the previous week. In such rugged terrain with countless twists and turns, we were fortunate to have a pack of hunting dogs by our side. Once everything was in place, I started making my way up the mountain. Within minutes, the howls of the dogs echoed through the forest. A wild boar was surrounded. Everything was going smoothly. I quickly moved in and fired to finish it off. Perfect. My shot hit dead on, dropping it instantly on the spot. Barely 5 minutes later, the team spotted another boar on the mountain slope. It was a golden opportunity one couldn't pass up. I swiftly raised my rifle, took aim, and pulled the trigger. A few hundred meters up the trail, the growling of our hunting dogs put me on full alert. Wow, it had been ages since I'd seen such a large group of wild boars. With my rifle ready, I squeezed the trigger repeatedly, unleashing a storm of bullets. At close range, two of the boars collapsed in a muddy patch, kicking and grunting their final sounds. The deeper we went into the forest, the denser the trees became, making it harder to observe, track, and shoot. Luckily, with help from our dogs, things got much easier. They quickly pinpointed the boars' hiding spots and barked loudly to alert us. The moment we heard that familiar sound, our whole team tightened formation, rifles ready. The chase grew chaotic until a loud gunshot rang out. Unbelievable, a single, clean shot from my friend Morgan dropped the boar instantly. And take a look at our trophy, a giant beast weighing nearly 200 kilograms. Nature always has a way of surprising us with gifts, and today, the wild boars in front of us were the next gift in line. Forced to scatter and flee from the relentless pursuit of our dogs, the herd broke formation. Seizing the moment, I didn't hesitate. I got into position and took aim. After I pulled the trigger, I proudly watched the boar tumble down the slope, my heart racing with excitement and satisfaction. It didn't take long before our sharp-nosed dogs locked onto another target. We moved in, closely monitoring the situation. This time, Elmer would take the shot. Once the boar was locked in, he pulled the trigger. With a single lethal shot, the boar collapsed and rolled down the hillside.
Every morning, instead of peaceful dawns, farmers in Spain are met with overwhelming anxiety. Deep wild boar tracks are stamped across the very land they nurture with care for every seedling. Despite trying everything from traps to fences, the wild boar attacks only grow fiercer and unstoppable. Today, Thomas's hunting team has arrived, bringing with them a determination to restore peace. Will they succeed in freeing this land? Stay tuned for the heart-pounding moments ahead to find out. At first light, Thomas's hunting team steadily moved into the Spanish forest, ready for a tough battle ahead. The hunting dogs were released, quickly taking up the chase. Before long, they caught the scent of their prey. Thomas immediately closed in on the area where the dogs were tracking. Suddenly, a wild boar charged out. With steady nerves and battle-hardened experience, Thomas took one precise shot that dropped the beast instantly. A cold and decisive opening move, signaling a challenging day of hunting ahead. Seeing that the prey would be easily exposed running through the sparse trees, Thomas and his team quickly moved to higher ground. From this vantage point, every movement below was easier to track, especially the appearance of the wild boar. An ambush plan was set. Not long after, the target appeared. Just as it emerged from the thick bushes, a decisive shot rang out, cutting off its escape route. One precise bullet swiftly ended the prey's flight. After days of devastation, the forest regained a measure of peace. Pushing deeper into the forest, the sound of the hunting dogs immediately caught Thomas's attention. With tense eyes and razor-sharp focus, he moved in skills every hunter must have. There it was, the wild boar surrounded by the pack. Taking advantage of the moment before the animal noticed the team's presence, Thomas fired. A sharp bullet cut through the forest's quiet air. No room for error once again. The threat was eliminated. Under the blazing sun, Thomas kept moving tirelessly, searching with every step. After a while, he paused, eyes scanning every corner, hunting for his target. And he was not disappointed. Within minutes, a wild boar charged right into view. There was no way to let it escape. Thomas fired, the bullet hitting the vital spot. Perfect! A thunderous shot echoed across the hillside, restoring peace to the village. What did you think of that final strike? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. While Thomas was locked in intense pursuit, Jay lay hidden in an ambush spot, the air thick with silence. He carefully watched every moment, ready for the crucial moment.
Get him.
When the prey suddenly appeared, a shot rang out instantly. The bullet flew true, striking its mark, and the wild boar fell. A spectacular hunt ended in the forest's stillness. With his honed skills and fearless spirit, James once again gave the local community peaceful nights. The last rays of daylight fade, but the footsteps don't stop. A relentless hunt has been underway, and now it's time to bring it to an end. The wild boar races across rocky paths, desperate to escape, but Thomas is quick to intercept, ending the chase. The boar falls, an emphatic statement that this land is now safe, the crops protected, and the lives of the local people secured. Our mission today has come to an end.
With their devastating power and cunning ability to vanish into any terrain, they leave behind a haunting fear for anyone daring to enter their domain. Every hunt is a life or death gamble. Do the hunters have the courage and skill to outwit the deadly traps laid by these beasts? The breathless journey begins now. Dawn in the Black Forest. Mist still clung thick to the leaves, but the air reeked of death. The wild boars here had grown more aggressive, more numerous, and more destructive unchecked, unchallenged. Today, Caleb and his hunting crew were going to change that. Their familiar UTV came to a stop at the base of the hill. 15 minutes into the trek, the hounds started howling, pulling the whole team into the forest. Caleb climbed up the ridge, taking the high ground. Through the scope, everything below came into sharp, deadly focus. A fat, hulking boar easily over 500 pounds snuffling through the brush. The monster kept foraging, unaware it was being watched. Then suddenly it froze, as if it had sent something off. It turned sharply, bolting like a shot. That's when Caleb pulled the trigger. The team fanned out, each hunter heading to their post. Axel took a narrow game trail, hugging the hillside, his eyes constantly scanning the undergrowth for any sign of movement or tracks. Suddenly, the silence was shattered. A sharp rustling tore through the still air. From the dense brush above, a wild boar burst out panicked, massive, charging straight at us. The squad was already deep in the forest, navigating rugged trails and tracking every sign left on the damp forest floor. Mike led the way, eyes sharp as he moved through a narrow path swallowed by brambles. Then movement. That familiar silhouette emerged, the beast attempting to hide, but it was far too late. A volley of gunfire tore through the silence loud, relentless and final. Another target down. Another region freed from the grip of destruction. Millions can now breathe easier. The menace has been silenced. We shift our focus to another team, this time in the harsh, unforgiving Beskidi Mountains. The weather here is brutal. Snow has begun to fall, and the wind lashes in fierce bursts, warning of an incoming whiteout storm. James' team knows they're racing against time. They move quickly, seizing every precious minute before the mountains vanish under a blanket of snow. 10 minutes in, the signal comes. James advances toward the source of the commotion, eyes scanning the slope below. Through the snow-draped trees, a hulking dark shape emerges at him. Shots crack through the icy air, sharp, deliberate. The wild boar bolts, thrashing to escape the kill zone. But no amount of fury or instinct could change its fate. Moments later, it collapses. Another beast down. Another stretch of land reclaimed from chaos. The wind cut like icy blades across the face. Yet Owen, Caleb's close companion, pressed forward with his team, pushing deeper into this frozen land. No commands were needed. Each hunter swiftly moved to their pre-planned positions. Owen selected a thorny bush near the edge of the forest, a perfect vantage point. Wide view, concealed enough for a deadly ambush. 5 long minutes passed in the bitter cold, each breath crystallizing in the air. Then suddenly, a shadow emerged from the opposite side. A wild boar, foraging quietly, unaware that hell awaited in the woods ahead. As it stepped perfectly into the crosshairs, Owen squeezed the trigger. No chance to flee. The bullet struck with final precision, faster than instinct could react. Another victory etched into the snow. New South Wales, the agricultural lifeline of Australia, generating billions of dollars every year. But now it's under siege by bloodthirsty wild boars. These beasts tear through the land, ripping up soil, destroying crops, and causing tens of millions in damage. To protect this fertile ground, hunters from across the country are mobilizing, and we're among them. The battle for survival has begun. Can we stop them before it's too late? Join us and witness the fight right now. 5 a.m. As the first light of dawn breaks the horizon, we load up our gear and climb into our trusty vehicle, rolling out toward the rendezvous point. The moment we arrive, the team immediately fans out, moving to our pre-planned hiding spots. 20 minutes pass, dead silence. Not a sound, not a sign. Then, just as I crouch behind a thick bush, a massive wild boar, easily 500 pounds, bursts out of nowhere, charging just a few meters in front of me. A sharp crack of gunfire cuts through the stillness, followed by another. The beast crashes to the ground, motionless in its place. A solid start to the hunt. In the next field over, Leon had also spotted his target. Finally, the herd appeared. Leon quietly chambered a round, locked onto his target, and pulled the trigger. A thunderous gunshot echoed through the field. The rest scattered, instantly vanishing into the brush in a flash. All that remained was a massive wild boar, motionless on the ground. But the hunt was far from over. With its open terrain, it was the perfect spot to track the beasts. And just as we predicted, a large group of wild boars had begun to emerge, tearing up the dry soil with their sharp hooves. Gunshots rang out immediately, but these boars were fast. Most of them managed to escape into the brush, leaving only a few bodies behind. We couldn't let those beasts get away so easily. I quickly radioed the team, marking the exact area that needed to be tracked. Just 5 minutes later, Leon spotted a big, heavy one weaving its way through the tall grass.
I like it.
Leon quietly raised his rifle, tracking every step it took and squeezed the trigger. One clean shot, the boar staggered, stumbled, and dropped to the ground. At the same time, on the eastern side of the field, Ram had also spotted the silhouette of a wild boar hiding in the dry brush. Several of them burst out in panic, trying to escape the hunting dogs. Gunshots cracked through the chaos clean, Precise dropping 2 boars instantly onto the grass. About 5 minutes later, another one charged out unexpectedly. Without a moment's hesitation, Ram brought it down with a single shot. Night was falling fast, and we rushed to track down the last of the stragglers. The field had fallen eerily quiet, only the sound of grass crunching beneath our boots. Suddenly, a wild boar burst through the undergrowth. It was fleeing from something, but it had chosen the wrong direction. A gunshot tore through the silence once more. The boar collapsed in the tall grass this time. It wasn't getting away.
Wild boars have now become a nightmare for residents across Europe. They constantly invade and devastate crops. Despite repeated hunting efforts, their numbers continue to grow, forcing local farmers to persistently confront the problem. In today's video, join us as we follow Tony and his team on their challenging hunt. Let's see how it unfolds. Early in the morning, Tony and his team position themselves in a freshly harvested field, open terrain with no cover left for the boars to hide. Here, even the slightest mistake would let their targets escape. A massive wild boar suddenly burst from the tall grass, weighing nearly 100 kilograms and sprinting like a bullet. Without hesitation, Tony and his team immediately gave chase in their vehicle. After intense pursuit, he took careful aim and dropped the beast with a single well-placed shot. Emboldened by this initial success, the team combed through the entire area with renewed determination, leaving no boar unchecked. After hours of tracking, Tony finally pinpointed the lead boar's movement. Without delay, an ambush plan was set into motion. Each second passed in breathless silence. Boom! A crisp gunshot rang out the moment the target appeared. The boar collapsed less than a meter from Tony. Once again, his experience and composure secured him another prized trophy. Before he could celebrate, a strange rustling erupted from the distant dry grass. As Tony moved closer to investigate, a massive boar suddenly charged straight at him. With no time to hesitate, his fingers instinctively squeezed the trigger. Years of hunting experience paid off. The perfectly placed shot stopped a potentially deadly attack mere inches away. After an exhausting day of hunting, the wild boar population showed no signs of dwindling. There were simply too many. So Tony and his team made a bold decision: right operation. As darkness fell and the air turned biting cold, prime conditions for boar hunting, they located their first targets within minutes. Through thermal scopes, the boars stood out vividly, making them easy marks. In just a few hours, they eliminated numerous targets, dramatically thinning the local boar population. The hunt continues relentlessly. At this moment, we're pursuing a fleeing wild boar. Despite its surprising speed, I managed to adjust my rifle and fire in rapid succession. Near the tree line in the distance, another sounder of boars wanders while foraging. Sensing imminent danger, they immediately wheel around and flee in panic. But Tony, ever prepared, needs only seconds to lock onto his target. With surgical precision, his shots find their mark, dropping the boar with centimeter-level accuracy. As night fell, the wild boars emerged in greater numbers, and these were even bigger specimens. In a coordinated moment, Tony and his team unleashed a synchronized volley of fire. When the gun smoke cleared, the boars lay lifeless on the forest floor. From their strategically chosen firing positions, they continued eliminating targets with deadly precision. One shot, one kill. As the hunt concluded, though the hunt yielded a significant number of kills, the size of the fleeing herd made one thing clear. These operations would continue until the wild boar population was brought under control.